Molweni Sanbonani, and welcome to another segment, another episode. Is it called episodes when it's podcast? Oh, it's episodes, yes. Welcome to another episode of Global Workers Parliament, the podcast, which shines a view on employee and employer arrangements or relationships or situationships, whatever you choose to call it. Again, for those who don't know me, my name is Siyamthanda Sandiswa Koba, Umahlamba Ujangase, and with me, as always, are my co-captains.
Unojile ubindi umphephethe. Ngathi manje ngisenasithakazelo walokubongela
ngiyanibungela nonke la eGlobal Workers Parliament lo uJV wakadube, and it's going to be one of your hosts. Yeah, sifuna ukuthi sinimukele nonke khulekani ningabuza noma yini iGlobal Workers Parliament ikhona ukuphendula noma yimiphi imibuzo ethintana nendawo zabasebenzi sizokubeka ekhaya.
You know, I'm sure our viewers sit there and say, hey, bayadlala ngabantu abadala labantwana babafaka kuma-podcast. Kuma-podcast. Kudlaliwe ngaloba.
Cabanga nje etshele amajita akathi no ngibuza.
No, ngikwi-podcast.
Uyiport yini leyo? Dube thatha into sekade.
Ngiyangikhoza abafana.
You know, he
sazochaza babudube namafoni abawaphathayo ethi ngeke le dube asiyibonje lento lakuthini.
Liphi iphathini le podcast la?
Ukuphela lo.
Anyway, guys, as normal, we have a guest today on the guest couch who will just be joining us for some conversation. Ushinga, as they call him, driver WPM, will just be engaging us on the on the problem which he has with employer yake. We will then try and find expert solutions, if you may call it, to his problem as a Global Workers Parliament, and see how we can impart on him a knowledge which will help him to not only resolve this matter, but just be aware and conscientized on his employee rights moving on in the future. Shinga ngizodlulisela kuwena, and I'm just going to allow you a chance to, one, tell our viewers who you are, employer obukade uyisebenzela, relationship yenu, and why you decided to come to Global Workers Parliament.
Ngiyabingelela. Igama lami ngumthembeni Sibongo ngowashinga. Ngimthwalo. Mina bengisebenzela enkampani ema-security leyo kuthiwa uNewtech Security. Ise prospection la eSphingo. Ngiqale khona ukusebenza khona ngoJanuary mhla ka-8. Wona bengisebenza ama-shift bengathini bengisebenza i-night shift kuphela khona. Nakhona ngangifakwe omunye ongusibalo wami. Othana nosisi wami. Uqala kwami ukusebenza nakhona baqala ukusebenza ngasebenzela eMorningside. Ngithi iviki eli-1 ngisebenzela khona eMorningside. Ukungiqasha kwabo bangiqashela ePeregram. La bethatha khona abasebenzi. Bebayisa ema-site ngama-site. Abanye abaseduzane bazambela ngeenyawo. So thina ngoba sasibekwe kude sasithathwa ngemoto yakhona siswe khona siphinde silande kuseni. So ayikho into eningi abayifuna kumina, bona bathatha iCV nje kuphela. Futhi akukho la ngasayina khona. Ngasebenza khona ke eMorningside iviki eli-1 emva kaloko base bangishintsha. Izizathu zokungishintsha kwakhona angizange ngisazi. And futhi angifunanga nanokuthi ngaze ngize lapho ngiyabuza. Ngawo osebenzela eSphingo. Bangisa eSphingo prospection nakhona. Ngilengaselwandle nje straight. Khona ke ngisebenzile isikhathi eside, mhlambe bese kuzophela inyanga bangishintsha. Khona bengihamba ngezinyawo. Ngiyakhona ngisuka ngihlala eMlazi kaVeya. Ngihamba kwenyawo kwakumina bekhambeka futhi imali ukukhipha la vele ngekho. So ngasebenza khona ke emva kaloko usenyanga sizophela ingakapheli nje. Ngawusebenzela bangishintsha bangisa eLesa Spark. Lesa Spark bekuyindawo ebisa sathevulwayo. Ebizofakwa imbuzi neenkomo kudayiswe khona. Ikuseduze kwe-scrapyard. Enamaphara kakhulu le ndawo. So ngasebenza ke khona mhlambe khona ngisebenze inyanga ngoba mhlambe inyanga ezimbili ezintathu ngoba ngize baze bangishintsha khona bangishintsha kule nyanga sikuyona bangishintsha no bangishintshe last month loko mhla ka-25-6 kanjalo bangisa eSiphingo ngisebenze khona ke lapha eLotus Park ya lesa njengoba yavulwa yimina ngasebenza khona kwaze kwaphela lezi nyanga kuthe March last of that month I think mhlawumbe beku March April yango April yazi kube ku April futhi bengikade ngigulele uma wami nakhona bangiqasha ngathi bengithi ngibuza imali bangitshela ukuthi ngizohola u3.5 so ngokuthi uma wami begula ngase ngithi no ngavele nami ukuze ngikwazi ukusupport ekhaya ukuze ngisebenze yabo ngase ngithi kulungile le mali yayincane kodwa kulungile ngithathe ngasebenza mangisebenza khona ngasebenza bangishintsha bathi angihambe ngiyosebenza ngisebenza ngine competence kodwa isibhama ngisiphathi kwafika igebengu eLotus Park ngicathi ngihazi noma phara noma igebengu ngoba kwakusebusuku ngingaphakathi safika zangiklasa zifuna ukungishaya zifuna ukungikwaza ngingaphakathi ngisebenza ngi1 akukho umuntu iyadi la khona likhulanga nje le mhlambe ngangokusuka mhlambe ngale ntongoni lapha ngaphandle uphela lela bese liyavuleka akabi khona akakabi libuye ngale khuzana ngama blocks nje kuphela akakafakwa ifence leyo ethukayo basalungisa indawo ukuthi kungene khona imbuzi ngasebenza ke khona kwafika amapara ebusuku ngabaleka ngaphakathi kune container lapha yona i-covered yona i-right ngaphakathi yabo ngonayo yonke into yabo afika shaya i-container ngaphakathi ngavula i-container ngaphuma vela keep push ashaya futhi nakhona ngacisha ngalimala meshaya i-container ngithi ngivula umnyangane asegibele la phezulu e-container ngaphuma ngabaleka nganqasha ngawoma lapha kude meqhamuka mengabe ngibaleka ngiyoma lapha angithuka angibiza ngenhlamba athi kuthi inhlamba
kabusayisha inhlamba
kuthi so uzofela yabo athi kuthi uzofela into yomlungu athi mina bafethu mina vele mina ngiyimpimpi njengoba ngisecurity kahle ngeke ngize ngithi ningenzi lutho kufuthi nami ngiphethe lutho enzani noma yinifisa ukuyenza ngaqeda ngabaleka ngawugibela phezulu kumbe sekufaka indawo le eyimbuzi iyakhiwe nje ishiseliwe nje agibela phezulu erofini yakhona
asikabi khona imbuzi agibela phezulu ngase ngisebenzisa ifoni yami akho ngisho over call utho nje engathi ngireport ngawo nami anginayo airtime yabo angina data ngisho efonini anginayo airtime then ngasingabashanga call back baluze ukurespond nazi igebengu sikhona ngaphakathi
Should safety yakho nje as an employee abayiregard nje at all ayikho into abayenzile to ensure safety yakho as employee
ayikho nje akho lutho
so manje bahlala ke lapha ezikwendlu ke
ngagibela phezulu kwendlu ngashaya call back bangarespond at the same time ngaphinde ngawuphinda futhi bangarespond ngawushaya ngishayela u-site manager bangarespond ngaphinde ngawushayela kulokhuzana ku-inspector wangaresponda mhlambe uphela mhlawumbe 30 minutes bayenza lento yabo kunomngane we-client owayekhona kwenye site ke ekhona lapha eduze i-driving school Lotus driving school lapha ngaze ngasizo yena waphuma nesibhamu yabo isibhamu segesi waqhumisa sona sengibalekile ngajombela ngale ngaphandle komgaqo ngabatshela bathe befola ngesikade sezibalekile lezi gebengu lezibalekiswe leyo muntu ngoba eqhumisele hayi into bezifuna ngaphandle bekunekhona ebingaphandle yabo bekunekho lento le ekhona isikupsa khona bafuna wona kahle bafuna ikhopho sebehlephulile vele lento sebehlephulile silengala kaphansi kunawe noma bagcina bengazange bayethola uyabuza umngane we-client kumina ukuthi awukani bapha iphi backup yakho ngathi mina ngazi ngoba anginayo time so ngiyazama ukuthi ngishaya call back akho into orespondayo mina lungile sahlala naye ke sengingaphandle kwesango bathanda bafuna khona kufuna yena lo site manager ngamtshela ngathi yazini ngiyakhoduka mina manje angizukufela ubala ngoba kade ngifonela nina unrespond ngiyanibhaza no respond nonke athi shinga okay
okay ngiyeza open inspector ngathi inspector akaza akanaye akarespond yabo okay it's fine that's okay ayilungile imancana ngime ngingaphandla ngisafuna ukungena ngaphakathi ngoba laba ngibazi babaleke bangena ngalapha la kunendawo lana enendawo zokucutha nje zikhona la so ngingathi ngiyabuyela ngaphakathi kanti bacuthile futhi mina futhi angiphethe lutho kanti mhlambe khona ongene ngaphakathi econtini ngoba ngishiya ngakhiya ngishiya kanjalo ngivulekile mhlambe khona uvula ngena ngaphakathi bacutha ngaphakathi so mangibuyela ngaphakathi ngizophela ngibe senkingeni ngayihlalela ngaphandle emgaqweni ukuthi in case khona something ngibalekele.
At this point, Jobu Sebenza, i-contract isikhona because I remember you mentioned mawuqala story ukuthi I think awusayinanga a contract. Ibikhona i-contract at this point noma still.
Ahlala ngiyakholwa utho.
Ayikho i-contract. JV, what are the rights of, if any exist, are the rights of an employee who's not contractually bound to their employer and vice versa?
Yo, indaba ezibuhlungu lezi esizizwa ngoshinga ngoba into yokuqala uma umsebenzi efika ezosebenza umqashi fanthi emenzele incontract and incontract yakhe fanele ihambisane nemithetho ye-Basic Condition of Employment Act. One, fanele issue isikhathi sokungena kwakhe, issue ama-duties akhe, issue isikhathi sokuphuma, issue isikhathi se-lunch, bese imtshela ke imithetho nemiqathango yonke ehambisana ne-contract. Lokho semqoka kakhulu njoba ushinga wayengenayo i-contract, uma lapha wayefa esayithini umqashi wayenelungelo lonke lokumphiketha ngamasi. Uyayibona ke ingozi abasenze bayifaka kubona. Once wangena emsebenzini ungenayo i-contract umqashi engakuphika ethi akakwazi. Two, ubos i-contract futhi yona efanthi i-determine noma isho ukuthi iholo lakho imalini. Uma umqashi esethi njengoba nikhulume ngomlomo ngo-3,500 esethi no ngizokunikeza 1,500, lokho akubeka engcupheni. So kusemqoka kakhulu balandeli balolu hlelo le-postcard workers global workers parliament niqonde lento in-contract yakho esemsebenzini estipulator onke amalungelo, indlela yokusebenza, imiqathango yokusebenza, konke lokho kufanele kube contract lokho. So abasebenzi bonke lokho kuzofanele beqaphele.
And just to add on note oyirezayo, as academics of law, as much as we recognize ukuthi there is something called verbal agreements, and verbal agreements in themselves do have legal recognition.
Sure.
I think it becomes, verbal agreements become solid or more solidified when there is presence of witnesses,
yes,
right?
Of course.
In this case, you are dealing with an employer as Eshu JV who could easily wake up tomorrow and say, I siyakphika. By not presenting a contract, underline one, your responsibilities to them, but also their responsibilities to you, they have now indemnified themselves.
Sure.
Relative to anything engenzakala kuwena. So njobe esho ukuthi if you get hurt today, that employer could easily say, I don't know this person, I don't even know what they were doing on my side. Yeah, so it's very important. I'm just again emphasizing the point you're making. It's very important for everyone who is watching the podcast today to ensure that they thoroughly look at ama contracts which they have with their employer, but they also make sure that in every engagement that they enter into, a contract is present. And I don't just mean a verbal contract here, I mean an actual paper contract.
Nanokuthi kodwa ke uma seyibuka ngokweqiniso ngenxa yokushoda kwamathuba omsebenzi ezinye izinto ugcina usaba nokuyibuka.
Yeah, definitely.
Ugcina unalovalo lokuthi ulona akekho serious lo.
Yeah.
Sini umsebenzi la uthi asibhale phansi. So ukuthi ufuna ukusebenza noma ufuna ukubhalelwa phansi. Ugcina unawo ngoba ngisho nakini makuthiwa kini uthi udadewabo ke nje bese shuthi wayefaka usibali kadadewabo. Awumtshela ngani dadewena amshiye lo muntu.
Awusamshiye.
Usamshiye hayi lakho yabona uyaqhubaka. So i-situation yokuthi la usuku ispace ukuthi uyawudinga umsebenzi. Usefika lapha kini usisa ukuthi hey phela la lo simnika umsebenzi uyawunqaba ngoba ufunde awusuvela njengomuntu ongafunile ukuthi njengoba eshilo ukuthi usebenze under pressure ukuthi nasekhaya kuyagulwa as umjita uhlala ngisho ngathi uma wamfana wamdala ekhaya ayikho into edepressa nje ukuthi awusebenzi and osisi bakho bayakufaka under pressure njengomuntu omnyama uthi siyakondla wena sikondlela nezingane so uma wathola into encane uyatatazela ugcina uzifaka kwi-situation eyi-risk ngenxa yokuthi uyawufuna umsebenzi bese sesibuka kwi-angle yokuthi enye into efika ibebuhlungu ukuthi mase usuyilandelela bayazi laba ababemnikela umsebenzi bayazi ukuthi inobungozi obungakanani kodwa ngoba ba-concern ngokuthi bona bayenza malini abanandaba nokuthi i-situation abamfaka kuyona as umuntu injani so ibhlungu kakhulu lona ngoba igcina sisibuyisele ekuthenini thina uma kungafakelwa ama-companies ama-security pressure yokuthi ayihloniphe abasebenzi then siyohlala sinenkinga ezifana ngoba akuyena yedwa uma sikhuluma iqiniso uma singabhekelela abanye abasebenzayo baningi abantu abahlukumezekayo abakuyizimo ezingaphezu kwezakhe kodwa uma sesilandelela ngoba nami ngangawuthola umsebenzi ngezwe wase ngiphakathi uthi ngihola malini ngoba i-situation yasekhaya ithi hamba osebenza ukuthi kuthiweni kuwena uyobona khona so izimo enjalo zinzima kakhulu.
Enye into engifisa ukuthi ababukeli besekhaya beyibhekisise nohulumeni kakhulu eyibhekisise uyabona umbulalile isimo sikashinga sifana nabaningi abasebenzi uyogada iproperty mhlawumbe ka2 million akaphethe ngisho idokipere akaphethe lutho ubeka impilo yakhe engcupheni so lento ibhlungu ngoba abasenzi bama security bayabulawa besemasayithini bayarojwa kwenziwa yonke into uma sekwenzekile lokho yonke iblame ithweswa kubona kuthiwa wena it means buhlala nezigebengu ebezongena kwi-property zatshontsha ukuthi nokuthi into yokuqala mase kwenzeke into ethile iblame yokuqala ithweswa kubona but uma usubheka irresponsibility yabaqashi one fanele umsebenzi la senza khona security kube ne-guard house la hlala khona kakhulu nje bethi wayisebenza ebusuku angizwa ushinga imention i-guard house two akaphethe u-over ukucommunicate nomqashi so okushuthi kwakuthiwa lapha zibonele uma kuthi uyafa lapha uyafa okwakho lokho thina asina responsibility esizoyithatha ngawo ibhlungu ngoba kusenyiswa yini lento ye-unemployment ekhona eSouth Africa abaqashi abaningi bayayisebenzisa lento against abasebenzi ukuthi and they exploit that to the fullest ngoba kuyazi ukuthi usungana option njoba esho uvilakazi ethi uma umumfana ekhaya kune pressure ukuthi phuma uyosebenza uthiwa so umdala ungakasondla wena sondla izingane zakho na yonke lonto leyo so ugcina uphuma uyosebenzza usuthatha noma yini ukuze uphile
because the truth is kulento nimentionayo and what Uspinpio was saying is even if Ushinga didn't take that job let's say nje wawuye kumsebenzi wathi hey no this is not working for me chances are there's someone else who would have taken that job
definitely
bebezomthola and the week is way too long they would have found someone in a short space of time who was going to take low msebenzi because people are in need of work you know so definitely I think government more so needs to pay great attention to that and really abantu I think they need to start associating themselves with ama unions and ama organizations or ama associations which represent ama interest abo on a much more serious degree and much more serious note as you know is currently happening. I think that also needs to be something South African employees place a focus on.
Mhlawumbe into esingayicheka kuShinga ukuthi ngoba ngizwe ngathi uShinga after the incident wayeka ukusebenza emva kwalapha.
Angikanga ukusebenza khona ngoba wabuye inspector wafika nje late ngesikade mhlawumbe kasekuphele mhlawumbe i-hour and a half hour. Yeah, why Monday fika avela awasekho futhi ngoba emva kwaloko ayesebuya ngoba abuya 2 times.
Esazi vela unaspama unalutho awunasho
abonza anginafo khona ngoba nje wafika kokuqala abaleswa lelandela abaleka after mhlambe 5 minutes aphinda abuya futhi
same day
after 5 minutes
akafiki lokho zayo
akafika imoto
so sifika kanjani ke then to the point of dismissal that's the part I want to understand then
le dismissal basuke bangishintsha ke lapha mhlambe bangishintshe lenyanga lento bayenzeke before April. Yeah.
Oh, it's recent. Okay.
Yeah.
So wasushintshwa ke uyakuqhubeka.
Wasengishintshe inspector wathi ungisala ngithola khona imali enkulu of 5,000 some change angazi. Wathi ngiyophatha ispam ngoba ngine competence. So ngasebenzela isiphinga emotional. emotionally akho guardroom akho lutho ke khona lapha anangcono yayikhona i-container ngihlala ngaphakathi e-container lapha la bengikhona la esiphingo kunemoshwali la esiphingo kuthiwa uPhem la esiphingo la ngasenesasi yabo ngisebenzela khona lapha kunomphema kanje kuphela
so ukati night
ngisebenza i-night nje kuphela edumbu zifika lapha mkwami njalo ebusuku ngaso ngesikhathi ngihlele eminyango uma ngabe nginetha imvula iyanginetha bese nginqika ngodonga inginethe la phandle ngime ngenyawo inginethe la phansi yabo uma ngabe kumakhaza nje lapho ngiphethe isibhamu la ngiseduze komgaqo mhlawumbe kune tavern lapha kuthiwa uMakhosi khona engale khona eduze kwala eduze kwey'nkukhu zakamasipala ezilapho ya lapho ke ikudlula idakwa everyday namapara yonke into ayikho into engadluli mina ngisemgaqweni ngathi njengoba ngila ngihlela mina
liyanetha liyashisa
yonke into la bonke ngihleli la nje kube kuthi le light liya umgaqo la ngiba ngihleli la isemgaqweni angibona nje yabo so angikaze ngize ngi-off kusuka from uJanuary ngize nga-offa ngacela i-off mina ngibona uma wami eseze washona ngo-April
usuyongcwaba uma
sengiyongcwaba uma bathini bathi futhi ngabanika isikhathi ngasho kusa-early kusaneviki eli-1 ngasho kusa-early base bethi bazonginikeza u-4 days le 4 days la kuzange kuze kube le 4 days off afanele ngike-off 4 days bese ngize ngiyobuyela ngosuku lesi-5 ntambama ngiyongena ntambama ngosuku lesi-5 kodwa kuzange kuze kube kanjalo kwathi makhamba ngahambe ngekhaya kukolwesine kwawulesihlanu ngithi ekhaya umgqibelo ngisekhaya ngesonto ngibuya ngisengibuya nomalume ngemoto yabo ngesonto ntambama yabo bengibuya vele ngiyabona-ke mina ngibe ngithinteke kancane yabo so ngibuye ekhaya vele
wazi ukuthi usuku lakho lesi-4 vele
ngazi ukuthi vele usuku lami lesi-4 ngiyolala ngiyazi ngakusasa mina ngazi ukuthi ngakusasa mina ngosuku lesi-5 ntambama ngiyongena yabo okay ngithintileke manje vele isikhathi sokuthi ngithinta nginaso ngoba laba abantu bangiphazamisa yabo nokuthi ngihlala namanye amajita anginaso mengibuya la kuyisonto ntambama la sisuka nje ekhaya ntambama ngabo 6 afona lo usasimene nje abuze ukephi bese ngimthetha no ngisanda kusuka ekhaya la emthwalo ngiyeThekwini athi yindaba namhlanje ukuthi angaka usukhohlile ukuthi uyasebenza ngimthetha I know mina ngazi ukuthi mina ngingena kusasa ntambama athi hayi usuku lakho liphelile ngathi namhlanje usuku lesi-4 kusasa fanele ngibuye ngiyongena sakubanga ngalokho yabo okay wathi manje fanele uhambe emsebenzini okay ngathi okay ngavuma ngahamba-ke size sabuya-ke ngisafika ebusuku mhlawumbe la ziya ko-8 ikhathi ngafike bangishiya esiphingo nabo babedlula bemgababa uma yonke indlela le uhambe efoni uyathetha ubuze ukuthi umsebenzi kahlahla uyawufuna umsebenzi noma awufuni yini yabo hayi
ngingayiphendula kanjani ayikho nje
akanandaba naleyo nto leyo ngahamba-ke ngamtshela ngathi mina ngidakiwe mina ngiphuzile futhi ngeke ngize ngikwazi mina emsebenzini ngcono ngiyolala njengamanje wathi kulungile hamba unje ngathi ngigqoke ingubo zami ngiphethe ngisho isikhwama wathi ngigqoke nobhaqa kaso yabo ingubo zami wathi hamba usebenze unjalo mengifika ngahliya ngahamba ngeenyawo sebusuku kunamaphara lapha ngahlika esiphingo ngoba ngishiya esiphingo ngahamba ngeenyawo ayisekho manje into eletha sipaka ngaleso sikhathi ngahamba ngeenyawo ngihamba ngeqa amaphara ngidlula amaphara yonke indlela la mengifika sathi nangu nje umuntu ngaphakathi pho kanti mina yini ethiwa ngizela ngaphakathi ngoba lo muntu obengibambela ukhona ngaphakathi yabo naye vele akanayo isayithi uyi-reliever yabo akanayo isayithi njengoba lawo yena ukhava nabuza hawu ntuta wala ngithi mina kuthiwa ngize lapho kanjani mina ngize kona ngoba la ukhona yabo athi naye akazi bese ngiyababhaza-ke ngibabhaza bafona kufona u-inspector afona athi ngitshela ndoda sengifikile esayithini inkinga manje khona umuntu yabo inkinga manje khona umuntu kanjani athi nayi khululeke ima kanjalo-ke afika athathe lo muntu la ahambe ngithi mina ngisebenza nginje athi naya njengoba kushiwo ngathi okay
lo muntu oyi-reliever ethathwe
ehamba lo muntu oyi-reliever engabe kuthiwa mina ngihambe okay ngihlaleke kanjalo okay ngidla ngimtshela ngithi yabona mfethu mina angithi yabo ukuthi ngiphuzile ngathi naye ngithi uthini ngalokho indaba ungathi lo akasali la mina ngikude ngihamba ngolala ngathi kumani na ngigoloke ebhakethini nami la isikhwameni sami ufuna ukuthini ngathi hayi shinga nami ayikho into engizoyenza ngoba bathe ngena ngithi mina okay ngihlaleke ngivele futhi ngivele ngivale icontainer ngiyilalele ngaphansi econtainer kwawona ngivele ngabe ngisawuphuza ngivele ngilale ngikhile icontainer vele ngiyilalele ngisikhathalele ekhaya ngizange ngize ngilale isikhathi sokuthi ngizange ngize ngisithole and futhi bekungaleliwe ekhaya bekuhleliwe nje sihlale ngihlale kuze kusemnyango kuseni ngihambe ngibuyele endlini njengoba ke ngingeze ngashintshwa ke ngaze ngayiswa lana ke nakhona njengoba nakhona bengisebenza khona imali yakhona ke usuku lokuqala ngoFebruary ngahola umhla ka-1 February ngiholela uFebruary ngiholela uJanuary ngahola u-1.3
Hawu.
from mhla ka-8 mina ngisebenza 8 January kodwa ngazohola u-1.3 ngihola esandleni nawo lo 1.3 ngabuza mina ukuthi kanjani ngoba kwafika yena usite manager ezonginikeza le mali ngabuza mina ngathi mina wanginika le mali encane engaka inyanga engaka nangiso-28 wathi hayi lutho lapho kuthiwa into ofana ngiyisebenze bangisebenze into engapha ezo-26 ukuze ngithole le mali pho le mali yani lencane kanti bese siyabanga lo manje inkinga mangabe ngikhuluma ngathi ngithatha kancane akafuni ukuthi ngikhulume uyangilwisa ngiqinisela amehlo afuna ukungishaya okay le mali ngabe ngayidedela phansi ngathatha imali yakho uhambe nayo mina ngifuna imali yami ephelele uvula imoto afuna ukungishaya ngayishiyanda le moto ngawo malapha kude imali ngayishiyanda ngihamba ngawo malapha kude seso lapho wathi ngathatha imali ufika ephaketheni wayithatha yena wanginikeza ngathola ngayithatha ngayifaka ephaketheni ngahamba manje ngiyacabanga ukuthi nguyeke inkinga yami angikwazi ukuyeka umsebenzi ngoba ekhaya kwathiwa ngizibonele ubaba wathi ngizibonele so yonke into ngiyazenzela ekudala into engiyenzile omunye umuntu
so bana-ke Shinga uma usuholile-ke le mali-ke 1.3 umholo waFebruary-ke umalini-ke yona
uma sengihola lo waFebruary ngahola sekuphele umhla ka-1 futhi sophele uFebruary ngoba uhola umhla ka-1 ingane ntambama ngahola sengihola
4.1 kanti thini umholo wakho umalini vele
umholo wami wayethe u-3.5
phela yathi ushintshe isaythi wena kwathiwa usuzohola imali engcono
5,000
lana-ke ebese ngishintshele khona ngishintshele ngelekhuthane nge-20 something 25 lapho bengisahole imali yangale iroster yakhona bekuthiwa iphela ngomhla ka-21
usahola imali endala
ngisahola imali yangale
okay so manje mase kuhola le 4.5 uthola esandleni na 4.1 uthola esandleni noma
wona-ke bese kushintshile-ke yona lo umholo kaFebruary wonke-ke uyaqala lapho ukuthi ngene ebhenki kwaze kwazobe manje ngoba umhla ka-1 nje mhla ka-1
asisongeke Shinga ikuphike la senixabana khona-ke nenkampani-ke njengoba senixabana kuphike
la sesixabana khona wangifonela emini ungifonele emini kade ngiphume esayithini ngisebenzile futhi nakhona le inyanga yonke ngangaphumula iroster yami imande beqala ukunginikeza iroster wathini wathi iroster yami ngizoze ngiphumule mina ngomhla ka-11 kule nyanga le ngabuza ngathi ngisebenze ngiphinde futhi ngisebenze inyanga yonke indaba ngathi kule nyanga ngiphumula ke sekubanga lo sengizokhe kulungile ngizokwenza kanjalo ngiqhubeke base sibanga lo bese afoneke bekumhla ka-4 emini bese ngilalile endlini ngavuka kwavula kwafika inqaba egengi yasekhaya ephuzayo yavula yafika notshwala afika wahlala la ifuna ired kwavula kwaphuza utshwala nami ngacela sengingenile ngiyaphuza kubona ntambama ngahamba ngaye emsebenzini ngafike ngayihlalela futhi kwafika inspector wangiletha isibhamu ngahlala futhi ngahlala lapha ekuthe ngabo +8 futhi ubuthongo bafika futhi ngikhathele yabo
mana unini-ke lapho-ke
lapho umhla ka-4 la engaxoshwa khona-ke wafika yena wafika ngishutha ngilele
cha sengisholo ukuthi angithona ubukade ugodukile sorry unganethuba ubugodukile wayekhaya kushoniwe sidlulile leyo yokulala kwasekhaya
hayi sidlulile leyo yokulala kwasekhaya bekuya ngo-April leyo
le manje ekaMay
lena yokulala ekaMay umhla ka-4
so wangasayina lutho ukuthi mhlawumbe iwarning lutho
angizange ngisayine lutho evakala kuba ngifuna bathi angibuyise uniform yabo ngayibuyisa ke uniform yabo ngithi mase ngiyibuyisa uniform yabo ngingaphakathi ngoba ngomhla ka-4 bengixoxa bathe angihambe ngiye e-ofisini ngakusasa ngomhla ka-5 ngaya ekhava lona 9 wabo mangifika ngithi mhlawumbe konke mhlawumbe sizokhuluma yabo ngifike mina ngixolise yabo avela ngabe nesikhathi sami angitshela ukuthi into engikubizela yona ukuthi I'm going to fire you bese futhi nakhona bese ngiyaxolisa angalamukeli ixolo lami bekunabanye abantu abawu2 ekade baqasha ngalelo langa abakhona abangaphakathi avela ngihakamuze ngaphakathi kuthiwa ukuthi mina ngisakwazi ukukhuluma naye avela bokuse ngami la kubona ukuthi belele kanje naveza ivideo aveze lokuna khuluma ukuthi ngingaphenduli ukhuluma na ukhuluma njalo unolaka unqinisela amehlo asitumuza kumele ngathi ufuna ukungishaya ngizithulele nje ngihlale phansi ngisonge izandla ngimbuka nje lona jika la kumele jika la mina ngimbuka faka lokho ke ngihamba ngahamba ke ngase ngibuya ngabuyisa imfomu ngakusasa ngamnikeza imfomu yakhe ngafika omunye usisi omzulu ngase ngamnikeza imfomu wabuza ke lo sisi ongabuza mina ngathi msisi menza usho imali yami ke lezi insuku ke lezi ke ngiyisebenzela ngisebenzise inyanga siphusha inyanga phambili
ya kufanele uhole phela
ya wathi na hayi sisi wathi kumina hayi no kanti yenziwa nini payroll ngathi mina phela ngazi kunena kodwa mina ngixoshwe manje so imali mfa ingene manje labo nje ngixoshwe manje wathi nayi ngeke uze kwazi ukwenzeka so bona abantu kufanele ubonake ngokwabo bathi imali yami bazofika umhla ka1 kusasa angazi ke noma bazoyifaka noma ngagcina ngibadubile kanjani bangasengisendela ngafonela iboss ngqo ngayifonela ngayitshela ukuthi hayi kanje yabo uncona imali yami ayingene wabuza nensuku engaphi ngathi mina no insuku ima ngizobuyela kuwe ngiqala ngizibhala ngithe mase ngibuyela kanso ku-voice mail kwazi kwashona ilanga angisamtholi efonini ngazi ngamsendela imessage ngamtshela sesuka futhi wakhuluma naye lo site manager lo usuke emva kwaloko bangifonela ngangayibambi ifoni sekuseni bangifonela ngangayibambi ifoni kwakhona the mase ngibuya wangena WhatsApp angisendela imessage wathi woza uze e-officeini uzosayinela imali yakho ngaphendula ngathi ngeke ngize ngisakwazi ukubuyela emuva ngoba mangifika ufuna ukungishaya.
Okay, so I think what we want to do manje, we want to move on to a part where one, we look for maybe ama-avenues anga-provide the solution esingakwazi ukuthi sithi come up with, even if they are not going to be, you know, as substantial now, because obviously we're still going to work on this case and we're still going to explore it more and see how we can assist. But one, we're going to move on now to perhaps just thinking about or providing ama avenues which could provide solution. But before we do that, I want to note one very, very important thing. I always say, I think with almost every episode we have, that as much as we hold AMA employers accountable as e-Global Workers Parliament, we also want to hold AMA employees accountable.
Yes.
So let it be known to all of our viewers that we do not promote AMA employees not exercising their functions correctly. So the idea of an employee who arrives to work intoxicated, one, is just, it's intolerable to us, and the correct processes as underlined by a contract and the constitution of that institution should be applied and should be applicable. It's even worse when it's an employee who carries a gun, you know, intoxication and a gun in a space of work where you are representing an institution, because if something were to happen under your intoxication, it's not just you who's liable, it's the company, and it doesn't just reflect you as the employee, it also reflects on the image of your company. So I just wanted to sort of map that out.
For future, even if company leyo sebenzelayo ayisakubuyisela emuva, ufanele wazi ukuthi ngale kwa happiness, ufanele wazi ufunda ukukala happiness yakho shinga ukuthi njengoba ula mawusemsebenzini ukuthi omzala bakho noba oqala nje akuyena wonke umuntu ojabulela ukuthi uyasebenza emndenini. So uma kungayena umuntu ojabulela ukuthi uyasebenza, ungathathi ke iphutha le-hour li-cost impilo yakho yonke, ngoba iphutha le-hour yabo nje bakade ungasebenzi mase ngikubuza ukuthi bangaki abebeke beyixaye ngokuthi ushinga nje basiholile thina akanayo imali roll on beze befike kwena bezokuletha i-roll on. Uma ususebenza indaba la uhlala khona sekuyi-platform yokuzojabula nokuphuzana nani, ugcine nawe usuzifaka kuleyo nto leyo ngoba i-situation kufanele wazi ukuthi njengoba umzali engasekho kufanele wazi ukuthi iy'mfundiso zakho zigcine khona engasekho, so that uzokwazi ukuthi ngoba as much as sinayo i-case nathi sibona ukuthi okay bayabheda lana nala, kunezinto okwazi ukuzenza zigqibe yonke into ebuhlungu abayenze kuwena. Sigcine nathi sesiyabantu engathi siyahluleka, kanti izinto ozenzile kubona ezinomthelela ongemuhle ezibeka ikampani i-global esituationini ukuthi masifika lapha nasebethi ungasitsheni ngomuntu odakwayo, asazi-ke thina manje sikumele kanjani.
You've given abantu who had no leg to stand on really now a position or a leg to stand on. And as Eshu Simpiwe, your situation would have been simple when, you know, even if there isn't the existence of a contract, there's ways to prove that umuntu was under the employ of a certain institution. Do you understand? And they would have now been forced, if it be so, to pay you according to ama minimum wage standards of ilentuzana of position ebebekade bekufake kuyona. Do you understand? So if they were to say i-contract beyingekho bazi kahle ukuthi bebevumelene ngo-1 point something now or whatever, wena ufika ufuna 1 point something, because the contract beyingekho but there's proof of your employment, what we then as Global Workers Parliament would have wanted is pay him in accordance to
position,
minimum wage ne-position enimbeke kuyona. So it is going to be slightly complicated because of the termination and the grounds of the termination. But one thing I think we want to reassure is, even if this doesn't solve the problem for you specifically or directly, when we take this up with your employer, sizobe singasalweli wena kuphela, sobe sesilwela abasebenzi generally who are under their employ and who could find themselves facing a situation efana neyakho if they are not already facing it.
Yeah, ngifuna ungena sesiya ngasekugcineni ukuthi babukeli basebenzi sicela ukuthi umsebenzi oqala neuhloniphe njengoba ama colleagues ameseshilo ukuthi ukuphuza emsebenzini akulungile, ubeka impilo yakho wena njengomsebenzi, kakhulu uma uphatha isibhamu kwa security, kubeka I property noma izinto osuke uyigadile engcupheni. Siyacela kakhulu as I Global Workers Parliament asukhuthaza ukuthi abasebenzi bephuze emsebenzini ngoba lokho akufanelekile. So in as much as sigcizelela kakhulu ukuthi abaqashi fanele benze u1, 2 and 3 ukupreserve ama-right abasebenzi, at the same time on the other hand abasebenzi nabo bane-responsibility ofanele beyifezekise njengabasebenzi. Into ke esizoyenza ngoba ngicabanga ukuthi issue yakho shinga iqondene nomholo, umqashi wakhe angakholele wona nayo yonke into, sizo interview umqashi wakho sicheck ukuthi ongokwakho ngoba ukufanele ukuthola lokho ngoba usebenzeni, ukuthola nini. Uma ukuthi akakwenzi lokho, ikhona ke imithetho elandelwayo ngoba security in terms of compliance, ngoba it means umqashi wakhe akacomply, okube sesithatha udaba lakho leya eDepartment of Labour, lapho kube sekhishwa khona ke incwadi noma ama-order asho ukuthi umqashi wakho ngesikhathi esithile fanele bese nginikezele umholo wakho. Sibonga kakhulu ukuthi ube nathi la ka Global Workers Parliament.
All right. Simpiwe.
Yeah, ngicabanga ukuthi okuningi sekushiwo. Mina okwami nje ukukhuthaza njengomfweni ukuthi singadidwa injabulo size sizikhohlwe thina. Ngale kwi-happiness kukhona ama-responsibilities afana bhekane nawe. Yabo njengoba kade usho ukuthi ekhaya kufanele uthenge ukudla nani. Kule nyanga ezoqala kuyobe ukudla okugcina ozokuthenga ngenxa yephutha elincane lenzeka. So uma uphinde uthola ichance yokusebenza, yazi ukuthi awuzirepresent wena. The fact that the time ufika la wathi ushinga sakuthakazelela sathi undeli ngoba sihlonipha umuntu owaqikelela ukuthi sibonga sakashinga simile. So nawo nalo task yokuqhubeka nayo ibaton ifinyelele kwizizukulwane ngezizukulwane. Uma uzokumosha manje lokho ngekulimaza wena, uzolimaza wonke umuntu wakini ofanele benefit ngokusebenza kwakho. So uqala nje noma ngathi uthola umsebenzi uqala ngokuhlonipha wona before ufuna ukuba happy wena. Happiness yakhe ingabi namandla ngaphezulu komsebenzi otholile, so that uzokwazi ukuzigcina usesigabeni esiphezulu. Inhlonipho obuyithola usebenza ngeke usayithola uma ungasasebenzi. So uzigcina uhlonipheke, uzigcina uthandeka through uzigcina usesibekeni sesimene esikahle sempilo. Ngiyabonga.
All right. I think we were doing our final reflection.
Definitely.
Okay. Yes. So I think my final reflection is it's very important as workers, one, to not only just consider ourselves as individuals, but also consider ourselves as part of a bigger employee community or employee society. When you choose to feed the monster of exploitation, you're not just debilitating yourself, you are harming everyone else who follows after you or everyone else who forms part of the employee society that you're a part of. So it is very important to say no to exploitation. I know it can be a bit hard taking into account the various socio-economic circumstances that we face as people. It can't be as easy for everyone, but where you have the opportunity to do so, rather choose that route. Rather do it. Rather play your part and ensure that exploitation does not continue. at the heart of this very conversation, or at the basis of this very conversation, which we just had today, was exploitation, you know? And again, we note the reasons, but we find ourselves in a means where umuntu who believed that they were losing out before they were exploited is still losing out now. Do you understand? Because of exploitation. So don't feed the monster of exploitation. Two, and very importantly, contractual engagements. When you enter into an employment space or an employment agreement, it is very, very important to have a written contract, because that safeguards you as the employee, but it also safeguards the employer, if you may, to an extent. It also ensures that there is a clear underlining of functions, and boundaries are never crossed at any point when it comes to the execution of functions. So as I always say, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to yet another episode sitting of the Global Workers Parliament. If you would like to share some of your stories, or you'd like to come on the show, man, and just share your story with us and the rest of our viewers, please email us. Our email is at the bottom of the screen near the subscribe button. So subscribe and and write down the email. While you write down the email, make sure you've subscribed. And who knows, maybe it could be you sitting on our complainant chair. I call it the complainant chair. And if that is everything from my gents, I would like to just thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you have an amazing day moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.